And we are live. I apologize, guys. I'm going a little bit early today, but I just wanted to. We have so much. We got a meaty stream today. We got to cover a lot of traction, a lot of ground with this one. So I figured we'd go for about 2 hours because I have something scheduled for 5, and it's honestly such a chunky week of news. And considering we're going to be going on vacation, I'll get into that in a second. Considering we're going on vacation in about a week, yeah, because today's Wednesday, so about a week from now to Italy, I figured I'd round everything up in this huge stream where I could just get all of the current events out of the way. I believe we can view, because it said it was, what time was the press conference for KSI and Joe Fournier? Joe Fournier, I think we could take a look at the press conference. If it's already out. Yeah, it is. Launch press conference. Okay. So we take a look at that. I will admit, I'm not too proud to admit that I got fooled with Misfits' April Fool's joke. I fully did a video. I did an entire video on the triple threat matchup between Slim, Poppy, and Pineda. I like 2 takes too, because the first time I messed it up, I fully did 2 whole takes. So stupid of me. And I saw that it's because I circled back to it today. And I was like, all right, because I recorded the video yesterday. I was like, all right, you know what? Since I'm going to Italy and I'm not going to be releasing anything for a while, let me just talk about it on stream here. And I circled back to the date on the poster because I was like, I wonder if it's going to be on Misfits 7 or like what's going on with that. And it said April 1st on it. I was like, fuck, I've been had. Damn. But so is life. And then I figured, since I am going on vacation, I can give my full Misfits breakdown, the quarterfinal high-stakes tournament, the first-round matchups breakdown, because I had some notes I wrote. So I'm going to pull those up right now. What's going on, the one viewer in here? Who we got? Who we got in the chat right now? Sound off. Okay. I'm going to print these out real quick. Print these out. Okay. Boop. Yeah, we got a loaded stream, a very beefy stream, if you will, today to get underway with. Plus, anything you guys will also want me to take a look at, I'd be down to clown a little bit. Got my Bubba Gump shrimp mug over here, ready to go. Let me see. Audio editor. Give me a moment. 1 second. Okay. Monday was 1:30 p.m. That works. That works. We'll get going in a second here. Also want to let a few more people kind of spill in. Being that it's so early, maybe some people, didn't see this coming. I am outrageously early today. It's supposed to be at 3:30, but I'm sure people will trickle in more as we go along. So let me go grab, you know what? I'm going to go grab my notes because I originally recorded the video on this, but I'm going to include it on the stream now. I will be right back. Just bear with me, okay? 1 moment. All right. All right, I'm back. Okay, so what do we want to go through first? Do we want to do the most topical stuff first? We could go through the press conference. We could do the Kingpyn tournament picks. Wrote up some notes. Don't ever say that I take this stuff lightly. Take it very seriously. We could always go through that first. What do we think? What do we think? I think, you know what? We're going to come to a decision quickly. Let's go to the press conference. Misfits press conference. Misfits, KSI and Joe Fournier, of course. And Joe Fournier press conference. Let's see if there's a different place I can find it, because obviously YouTube always ends up fucking with my shit up. I know Joe Fournier shoves KSI. MMAcore.com. Perfect. Awesome. Hopefully, YouTube won't take this down. Okay. Perfect. Here we go. All right. You see if that comes through. Sorry about that. Okay, good.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Central London and the launch of Misfits X Series 007 live and exclusively on DAZN around the world, and now in the UK also on Sky Channel 429 and your Virgin Media boxes.
So there's something I learned today about Joe Fournier. I feel like every time I look at a Joe Fournier bit of footage at the lead up, I always learn something new about this guy. Apparently at one point he was ranked number 9 in the WBC rankings, but I think what I said still stands, man. I've looked at a lot of his footage, and there is actually one piece of footage that I guess we can go through later that kind of speaks to the contrary of what I'm trying to say. But from what I've seen, this guy doesn't seem very mobile. He is a lot older, but the more I learn about him, the more I think this could be potentially a good matchup. I still have my doubts, though. It does still seem like KSI is handpicking this guy to go to slaughter, and that's unfortunate, right? Because, again, optically on the surface, you think, Boxer, at one point he was ranked number 9 in the WBC rankings. Oh, perfect matchup for KSI. You dig deeper into it. 40-year-old, the most, I guess, widely trafficked matchup, or the matchup with someone with the biggest name he's had before KSI was David Haye, and David Haye mopped the floor with him. So I still have my doubts. We can always look at more sparring footage and we checked out some of it the last stream that we did, but we could always see more sparring footage with Fournier this stream. But yeah, just interesting guy. Very, very interesting. Kind of sucks, though, that nothing was known about him before. I feel like I'm not alone in not knowing a lot about this dude. I think that's kind of the vibe that everyone has had up until this point. Everyone's kind of taken aback by who this guy was. He showed up, I think it was after KSI's last win against FaZe Temper, just wearing a wife beater. Unknown, right? Walks up, starts cutting a promo. He's pretty good on the mic. But here we go. We'll be able to see it now.
It's going to be a fantastic build-up. We've got Joe Fournier flown in from Miami. His advisor, David Haye. And next to me, Alexis Dimitriades and KSI. I'll come more to the names in a minute. I wanted to thank our partners, Steak, as well as Prime Hydration and Energy, the king of Prime Hydration and Energy drinks. First of all, we have a massive build-up planned for May 13th. We're expecting a sellout Wembley Arena on May 13th.
This guy's not a good speaker.
Before that, the X Series goes to New Orleans on April 21st, also live and exclusive on DAZN. The night after will be followed by Tank Garcia, followed by 2 weeks later, of course, Canelo Alvarez against John Ryder before we come back to London.
I want to do, I think, is that the JMX versus Le'Veon Bell card? Hold on. JMX, Le'Veon. Is that card? Yeah, it is. I was thinking about doing a double card or a double card, whatchamacallit, fight companion for that. Let me know if you guys would want that. Like a watch along. It's been a while since we've done a fight companion. Do you guys want to see me do a fight companion on the UFC events, or do you not care about those? Because I like watching the UFC events, but if you guys don't want to see that, I wouldn't be heartbroken, you know, because I do like to watch the UFC events as a fan. But again, if there's interest in that, if there's intrigue in that, then of course, yeah, I would actually tune in and watch that. But let me know.
The big one, and KSI's pursuit of legacy. To my left,
also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep pausing the video here. I do want to do more. What is the best way to describe this? Fight companions with fighters that I know. Would you guys want to see that? Because they have actual experience in the cage, in the ring. I know many of them well, and many of them do love the platform. They want to come on. So I think that would be a good idea. And a lot of us get along pretty well. You know, I feel like all the fighters and I get along. I mean, I've had guys come up to me and say, hey, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? But besides that, I mean, I get along well with most of them. So I could definitely, if you guys want to see that, bring in one of the fighters that's pretty well known on the amateur scene, or just even a friend of mine. You know, I got a really good buddy of mine that just won the title, the Gamma state title. So I'm sure he would love to come in, and I've got tons of friends. But let me know if you guys would want to see something like that.
Man, I'm very proud to say that I was involved in his career, a great career, one of an elite club, a cruiserweight champion of the world, a heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. David Haye. To my left, the $1 billion man, Joe Fournier, 9-0 professional, reaching the number 10 of the World Boxing Association.
Excuse me, it's WBO number 10.
The WBA international title. To my far right, Alexis.
Okay, we can let's
together with Marios of
let's
the home of Derek Chisora.
Let's scroll a bit.
White, Michael,
and that familiarity. There is a point where
maybe there's a more of a kind of press conference highlights type of deal. Because I don't want to have to go through 34, 2 minutes. Let's check out the heated face-off. This is the same video, right? Yeah. Okay.
The $1 billion man, Joe Fournier.
Okay.
That I'm going to mention now too much, but of course.
Let's scroll ahead a little bit.
Another, let's say, crossover boxer who recently tried in a very big fight to defeat a pro, came up short, as we all know. Yeah. Is that something that makes you, worry at night about Joe Fournier? I mean, given that Joe Fournier's record is a very strong one, ranked top 10 in the world.
Not a strong record. It's optically a strong record.
A title that's held, I think, currently by Joshua.
But it's not. See, that's the thing, dude. It's like that's happened so much, and I hate it. Optically, it looks good. But if you look at the guys he's fought, I swear to God, hold on one second. You know what? Joe Fournier. First off, he's listed as a businessman. Look at that. Businessman. That's the first thing. Look at his boxing highlights. We're going to take a look. We're going to show you guys what I mean. Now, there is, as I said, new footage that makes him look a lot better. But where is this? I want to find the... maybe there's one not on YouTube. YouTube. Highlights and videos. See, there's no videos of him available, right? But there's... all right. You know, I'm going to risk it. We're going to just take a look here. We're going to listen without the volume. We're going to try to get in as close as I can. This is the fight he had with David Haye. You guys tell me if this looks like a legit 9-0 guy. Right? A little bit hesitant on pulling the trigger. And David, by the way, David A. at this point was like 40 years old. I'm not going to pause it just because I want to get in and out before YouTube can catch us. But this is, at this point, David Hay just came out of retirement. The only reason this fight happened is because they had a bet. They had a bet as to whether or not, nearly missed this. What's going on, Pablo Balloons? How we doing? I'm sorry, but I know I went a little bit early today, but it's such a beefy stream that we have ahead of us that I wanted to go a little bit early because I have an arrangement at 5 that I need to get to. But I'm going to be giving my Kingpyn card announcements, or not my announcements, my predictions and my breakdown of that card. We're talking a little bit about Fournier. I was trying to find highlights of the press conference, but I don't want to bore you guys with a 30-minute long video. So this is my analysis, right? When I originally released, hold on real quick. We're going to view this in increments. We're going to go back to when I originally did setting a custom speed SI is the best way to avoid YouTube's auto detect thing, by the way. I'll have to use that for further streams. We're too far in now, but I appreciate that. I'm going to screenshot that, actually. Let me just screenshot that. I'm Pablo Balloons with the Connect. I appreciate that. When I looked, right, when I did that KSI, analyzing KSI's new opponent video, that was the footage I looked at. It just doesn't seem like he's that fast. It seems like he's a little bit hesitant to throw. It seems like when guys offer him up opposition, he's not as, and it's going to sound stupid to say, right? And it's going to sound obvious. But when guys fire back at him, he's not a volume guy. The only time that he showcases any volume is when guys are standing right in front of him and kind of not very mobile. He's able to kind of use them as target practice. And so I really don't think, especially with his old age and, despite some new footage that's come out, and I'll try to pull that up in a second, I'm not convinced, man. I'm not convinced that Fournier is going to be a good matchup. You want to talk about in the ring, or you also want to talk about name value. Like, and again, maybe I'm being a hater here, but did you guys in the chat know who Fournier was before this fight was announced? Apparently, he was number 10 in the world at one point. But did anyone know who he was? I realized recently that he had dated Paris Hilton, which is a very interesting fact about him. Shout out to True Jordy. I'm running off like 3 hours of sleep here. But did you guys know who he was? Because I didn't. I wasn't familiar with the name in a big way. That's no disrespect to him. Clearly, I will say this too. I've said this about guys in the past, and then they tend to be a little bit more competitive than I thought they would be. There must be a reason that KSI. Do you think KSI successfully or failed to make people think Joe is better than Tommy? No, I didn't know of him. I'll get to that in a second. There must be a reason. I guess this will kind of chain into the question you asked, Balloons. There must be a reason, right, that KSI picked Fournier out of the bunch. Because you have to think there's a bunch of people. It's KSI. You're going to be a big draw. People are going to want to fight. He shouldn't have a problem finding an opponent, I feel like. At least I think so. Now, whether or not he did a good enough job, I think just based off of the fact that nobody really knows who Joe Fournier is. I don't think he did a good enough job. Joe Fournier is good on the mic. I'll give you that. But if they take a look at this footage, and I'll dart back and forth from this. If they take a look at this footage, dude. Oh, this is just the David Hay versus Joe Fournier highlights. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to find this. Boom, boom, boom. All right. They take a look at this footage. Like, do you guys honestly see? Look, he's throwing the same strike. He's moving in and out, and he's getting tagged, right? Do you really think that's going to be competitive for KSI? No volume, leaves his head exposed when he goes in for body hooks. I mean, if people see this footage, dude, that's a nice 1-2 right there. I will say a swatting hook to a cross. But do you guys see this guy beating KSI? Look, his opponent like shells up there. He's not really offering anything back. And that's where we see Fournier at his most confident. And I've went through this footage before. Again, this is what I watched for the previous video I did on Fournier. I just don't see him having, and I'm going to switch back real quick. Boop. So I don't get the strike. I don't see him being able to really competitively keep up with KSI. So KSI's going to have to do a lot of talking to convince people that that man is better than Tommy. Because I will say this about Tommy. He really, really looked good that last Jake fight. Before that Jake fight, maybe there could be some discourse. I'm talking so fast that I'm tripping over my own words here. Maybe there could be some discourse. But even before that, I'd argue that Tommy, just because of how young he was, I mean, Fournier, again, he's 40 years old. You know, he's faster, he's more athletic. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think you could, especially given he's now older and has a lot of rust since his last fight. Yeah, man. I don't know if you could necessarily make that argument. But you know what? In the what's it called? The pursuit of fairness, the pursuit of a balanced review of the situation or balanced analysis, I want to look up his most recent, because he posted, which by the way, big faux pas, but he posted a video of him dropping his partner in sparring. And he looked really fast and really good, actually. But what I'm trying to say is right now, what I've seen is largely negative, unfortunately. So he drops 2 sparring partners ahead of his fight. Let me get this going. Oh, nope. Keep that out. Here goes. I mean, that's clean. I can't say anything about that. That's clean. I guess here's his second. I didn't even see this part of the footage. So it seems that Fournier has power. But again, I mean, even from this footage, he's banking. That's clean, though. That's very clean. That drop was so bait. You think so? Could very well be. I don't know, dude. I can tell you this, though. Even based off of that footage, if he's banking on KSI not really hitting him with that much volume, because that's one of the things that his sparring partners weren't doing, right? Is they weren't throwing a lot of volume at him. Joe was kind of able to... I'll have to show this one more time. I feel like I'm playing like hotsy-potsy with the YouTube system here. All right. Right, they're jabbing, they're backing him up, but KSI is, I feel like, a lot more pressure heavy, right? Joe might not be able, with the same speed, with the same efficiency, to get his own offense off in that same sense, right? His opponent right there, it's kind of throwing out what I like to call a lazy jab. It's like, what are you doing with that jab, right? He even triples up on it, tries for a 1-2. Fournier is easy. That second one, let's see the second one. So his opponent not really throwing back again, like, when he does throw back, it's like 1-2s. It's not really anything too diverse. It's not anything off the center line. I just don't see KSI doing that. So now even trying to shoot Joe some bail, I don't know if I can necessarily even do that. And Joe would kick my ass. I mean, don't get it twisted. I step in a ring with Joe and he's smoking me, even with my month's worth of training, but... you know how many? I'll check it up. But dude, I mean, it's a similar thing with Temper. You know, Temper is a guy that's a little bit more technical, likes to he's not gonna throw too much volume. Dude, and you saw what happened to Temper. And then you have to ask the question: what if KSI upgrades, right? Which you have to expect he will. In between fights, what does he bring in that's new? Because this last fight was the best, I think, version of KSI we've seen. The most reeled in. Let's see how many rounds. I will say this, though. Joe Fournier does look beefier than KSI. And I did the video on KSI versus Idris Virgo. And Idris was able to use his bigger frame to kind of muscle JJ around and bully him around. So maybe Joe Fournier looks at that video and says, maybe there's something here. That's what I could give to Joe Fournier, is he does look... We could watch the face-off in a moment. I'm trying to find the details of the fight. Okay. KSI. So yeah, Joe Fournier, 6'1", KSI 6 foot. Main card, 6 rounds. Kingpyn and PBA tweets? No, I have not. Dude, this is going to be such a big stream here. We will get to that in a moment. But to answer your question, Balloons, it'll be 6 rounds. And I'd imagine it's going to be... How many minutes they usually do per round in the influencer boxing? It's not as much as regular boxing, right? I rave late in the stream. No, dude, I mean, I started early. I started at 3. It was supposed to be 3:30. I apologize, guys. Like I said, we got a lot to get to. And so I wanted to give myself 2 whole hours to get into all of this. Also, shout out to my hair. It looks like I'm wearing a hair yarmulke. My hair today is absolutely terrible. But I'll do anything for you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys very much. Okay. What was the... is he expanded... the recent Kingpyn and PBA tweets. Let's check those out. Kingpyn and PBA. What's this? Okay, I'm going to switch to this scene. Kingpyn. Okay. Tickets for the high-stakes tournament. Oh, Wade getting himself in there. Dude, I love that Wade went to Kingpyn. Very much enjoyed that. This message is a completely power-driven sanctioning body with almost no power. They aren't sanctioning pro fights, Kingpyn, misfits, or anyone else doesn't have to use PBA for non-professional sanctioning. PBI here withdraws. Okay. Also, promoter license effective immediately. Yeah, who cares? PBA. Sanction from Kingpyn's tournament and suspended the promoter's license. So wait, what does this mean though? Does this mean that I'm assuming, okay, men's tournament, no headgear, full medicals will be carried out for each fighter in accordance with the BBOFC guidelines. Okay. We did some good takes on this. Wade's the homie. I love Wade. Okay. So it seems like the tournament's still slated to continue. It just won't be professionally sanctioned. You dunce. I love how Wade now, he's like off the chain. He's got smoke for everyone. They aren't sanctioning pro fights. Kingpyn, misfits, or anyone else doesn't have to use a PBA for non-professional sanctioning. Yeah, PBA is acting like this is like some sort of a professional. I mean, it's influencer boxing. And while I do say it should be treated in the same light or the same aspect or the same way that professional boxing is, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not like... It's influencers hopping in the ring. There's Wasabi down there training. Wasabi's going up against iDubbbz, I think, right? Sharp hands. Scroll down. Punch. Wade got her in there for the... Yeah, the UFC and the WWE usually recently merged. That's crazy. What am I looking for here, Balloons? You can always talk about the merger as well. I got Wade twerking on my screen. This is not something I thought I'd see today. Go on Happy Punch and scroll down. All right. Let's see. PBA and Kingpyn. Okay, gotcha. Here it is. 5 p.m. was the deadline for Kingpyn to have the documents for us for this tier of sanctioning. They were fully aware of this. 5 p.m. arrived and we're not satisfied. Therefore, we have to dispatch liability from the promotion. The setup behind the scenes is also chaos. There was quite literally one person attempting to run it all. Wow. The same individual behind the chaotic and failed events, Showstar, Mayweather/Deji, Mayweather/Chalmers, has no real clue what he's doing. Why is PBA? It's like they're dropping a diss track. The problem is that the 2 promoters and 1 event organizer from Kingpyn are from an MMA background, no governing body, and unlicensed boxing MMA has governing body. Well, it's not like one singular governing body, but they have the tier of sanctioning that we have in place requires a pro boxing medical and everything that comes with it. The individuals behind Kingpyn have never operated at that level and can't. This did seem like a weird kind of jab, like where it's like, oh yeah, these guys are below us. We like to update that we are partnering with the world-renowned ISKA. That's much better. It is kind of weird, but ISKA is we use some of them. We use them for some of our events. Like even the events that I commentate on my level, ISKA has a hand in, and they're always really class. Over the last few months, we've been making an internal decision as to which entity the Kingpyn tournament should sit beneath and decided upon the hugely experienced ISKA, and we are delighted to now be able to announce this partnership. As an aside, we're also aware of a recent post by the PBA. Here comes the Nas ether, right? Jay-Z's already made his diss track. Now Nas is going to follow up with a banger. We're also aware of a recent post by the PBA stating that Kingpyn's license with them is suspended. We believe this to be a poor choice of words, suggesting some sort of wrongdoing on Kingpyn's part, whereby the reality of the situation is that we simply had to decide upon our preferred sanctioning body for the... Oh, wow, yeah. We look forward to our start of our partnership, and we're 16 tournament fighters. Well, I don't think this changes anything. I do not believe this changes anything. There goes the Joe Fournier and KSI face-off. Joe Fournier shoves him. Heard he got a punch in, too. Or was that just clickbait? I guess that was clickbait. Got to have a shove to make it a good face-off, you know? It's never a solid face-off unless someone gets a hit in. Greg Hardy's going back to Misfits. I don't know why we give that guy a platform. Didn't he beat his wife? Was that confirmed or was that, I mean, allegedly beat his wife? I don't want to. If he did, though, I don't know why we're giving this guy a platform. Gib looks. Here we go. Hold on. That presser was so lame. Yeah, well, I'm glad that in that case we didn't, because I was going to go into it earlier and we didn't end up going just because it's 30 minutes. So I'm glad that we didn't review that from everything that has been happening. Yeah, it's tough. But a lot of bad publicity for KSI, unfortunately, recently. Off that whole Wade controversy. But here's Gib, dude. Gib looks a lot more slim. Am I like tweaking right now, or is that, does he look slimmer to anyone else? He definitely looks in wicked shape. I think I'm just used to seeing him a little bit like more beefed up, but he looks more lean and more muscular coming into this one. Getting his sprints in there. What do we think? That should be a fun one. Interesting stuff. Well, the ISKA is a really good governing body. It's very, ISKA is a fantastic organization. I think it oversees not only its kickboxing and boxing, and I think Muay Thai as well. So it's a lot of different forms of boxing. Whether it be Thai boxing, you know, Dutch style kickboxing, and westernized boxing. Wait, is the old drama KSI be fine and new? And that kind of happens, yeah. That kind of happens. Maybe I'll do a video on that, but it happens a lot with influencers when they start to get into something with drama. And, you know, obviously all the other... It seems like, especially with a guy as big as KSI, once the floodgates open up, then everything else kind of just comes crashing down. And so more and more stuff. That's why, I mean, dude... I mean, I guess a drama is inescapable even if you talk about boxing. Like, you could be Wade... The Wade concept, a guy that's pretty much universally loved by everyone, and you'd still get yourself into drama. But, I mean, drama is just... Once you get into it, it opens up every other single avenue for anyone that's ever had a problem with you. Like I saw on TikTok, I was strolling the other night, and it was like, yeah, Deji was right about KSI, this, that, the third. It's like, all right, I mean, seems like you've just been waiting a while to say that. But it gives people a platform, man. Get yourself into one thing, everything else comes crashing down. So we can't go over that. What do we... All right, let me know in the chat. What do you guys think of the Joe Fournier and KSI fight? Once the first gate opens, people are less willing to get... Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's true, too. You know, your past transgressions come out. It's just very hard to navigate around, unfortunately. You know? Switch over to just talking. You know, my mentor told me in mass comm, always keep your name clean. You know, always be a stand-up citizen. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's one thing having a mistake, you know? But it's another thing. I mean, the way KSI called out Wade and then went back on his word, it just bad look. Bad look. KSI was on WWE. He got frog slapped or frog slapped. How do you call it? Frog splash? Was that the move? I'm not, you know what the crazy thing is? I had my WWE phase, never got into it again after that. I know a lot of guys that are fans of boxing, fans of MMA, like WWE. I'll watch it every once in a while, just because it's fun to see like just carnage, dude. But I'm not. We could talk about the merger though. KSI did get frog splashed though by Logan Paul. I think I think Joe will be better than most people expect, if I'm honest. See, that's the thing, Zayn. I'd love to hear and I'm not, discounting what, but I'd love to hear your reasoning behind that. You know, it's a free take. So, 1 second. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Give me a second. Dude, my dog is going nuts. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. Someone came to the front door. Okay. Wow, yeah. All right, so we're back. Here we go. All right, thank you for hanging in there with me. Okay, so I have all these questions to answer. KSI, WWE, we talked about that. WWE merger. I think it's cool. I think it's good to have all those places under one, or all those, promotions under one kind of like umbrella. Yogs, come here. I'm gonna have to get my dog on a leash soon. From a scale of 1 to 10, where do you put Joe? Yeah, the merger. Let's go through the details of the merger real quick. WWE merger. My dog like literally scared the shit out of some kids just then. The kids were like selling stuff for their baseball team. My dog comes out like, ooh. Felt bad for him. All right, so they've combined. I'll put this up on screen. They've combined. Here we go. Endeavor, which is a fantastic company, have combined UFC and WWE. WWE. I always say landmark agreement to form a new publicly traded company. So they listed it on the stock exchange too as TKO. Consists of the MMA and pro wrestling brands, which is expected to close in the second half of this year, depending on regulatory approval. Merge the two biggest. We'd probably see some rollover, right? We've already seen some rollovers. I mean, Brock Lesnar competed in both. CM Punk competed in both. I mean, UFC people have gone over to the WWE, like Ronda Rousey. I mean, there's tons of overlap. I guess, that's from 76 days ago. WWE's on the hills of I don't know, dude. I think it's cool. I mean, my only real issue with that is, as a purist fan of MMA, I just don't want to get any. I'm worried that there will be athletes that compete in MMA from the WWE that don't necessarily have the training that a lot of these, because you saw when CM Punk went up against actually a good friend of mine, I know him, Mickey Gall, and how quickly Mickey Gall got on top of him, slapped up the choke. It's just like, hold on one second. I'm going to get my dog real quick. Okay. Yokes. Shh. That's my only real kind of like, I guess, if I'm going to be nitpicky with this, right? And kind of look past all the upsides, I think that the only thing that we'd have to worry about is maybe some needless crossovers between the athletes now that the two companies are in bed together. In that sense, does that make any sense? That's my only real concern with this. Besides that, though, I mean, they've been so closely interlinked over the years that, I mean, maybe I'm probably not thinking about every single aspect or detail that could possibly happen from this, but I'm trying to think. I couldn't see any problems with it. Yogs, please don't be loud. Please. He listens to me. No, he doesn't. Never mind. Whoa. No, yeah. Again, on paper, it's a good acquisition. It's just another conglomerate. Like everything's. If you look at the corporate, like kind of the corporate, what are they called? The corporate pyramid. Everything gets tracked up to one big parent company at some point, right? It's just kind of like a pyramid scheme, except with professional organizations. Camera's got to focus. There it goes. Tank versus Garcia prediction. I have not done that yet. Tank versus Garcia. Tank said he's working on his defense for this one. I think that's going to bolster his counter opportunities a little bit more because the best offense sometimes can be a good defense, and the best fighters have that strong defensive base. And I think one of the things that makes Tank so dangerous as an athlete, as a boxer, is that you have to be perfect with him over the course of a 25-minute fight. Or however long minute, if it's a title fight in boxing, that'd be 12 3-minute rounds, so 36 minutes. It's a lot of time to be perfect, right? And I've seen a lot of guys, even without, like, let's just say his defense up until this point has been a little bit spotty, which I wouldn't even say that's an accurate representation of his defense. Guy, like I remember, I think it was, who was it? The last Garcia fight, because he's fought Tank versus Garcia. It was Hector Garcia. But I remember, where is it? I know the Garcia that comes up is going to be, but maybe it's Hector Garcia, yeah. I remember watching the Hector Garcia fight, and Garcia was hitting him with bombs. And in the early goings of the fight, I just banged my knee pretty badly. In the early goings of the fight, Hector was scoring a lot with shots, combinations, coming at it from different angles. But Tank kind of just stood in there. He hung in there. And he's a tough guy to get out of there. And you see he kind of catches up to guys. But Garcia, and this is Ryan Garcia this time, also brings a lot of speed. He brings a nasty, I think, left uppercut to the body that he's gotten a lot of people out of there with. I mean, it seems like stylistically this fight is perfect in the sense that you don't really know what's going to happen. But if I had to put money down on it, I might have to go. I think Garcia's speed is going to be a little bit too much for Tank. Because that was the other thing in the Hector Garcia fight. Sorry, I'm all gassy. Hector Garcia wasn't really there for Tank to hit. It's as Hector's gas tank kind of ran down and he was there to be hit. That's when Tank started hitting him with power shots. And then I think that's how he was able to stop the fight. Right? Yeah, TKO. Maybe I can show the TKO here. Okay. Uno momento. We're going to show this real quick. Dip in and out. Right. So it was the end of this round. So that's after Hector Garcia is already slowing down a little bit. That's when Davis kind of takes over, and I think that his corner threw in the towel. It was that huge shot right there. That's the shot he's looking for. But the question is, will Garcia be there to be hit? And I don't think so. I think Garcia's gonna be a little bit too quick, but I could easily see Tank scoring a big shot and getting him out of there. I want to see the height and reach for both men. Garcia versus Tank. My dog is going nuts in the background there. Sorry about that, guys. He just wants to protect the house. That's also true. It's a big thing to also consider, and I'm glad I remembered this, is that Ryan Garcia is 5'10", and Gervonta Davis is 5'5.5". It's a southpaw unorthodox matchup. What are the reaches of both these guys? I want to see the reach. Gervonta, okay. Reach. So I hate to do this, but they're showing it via centimeters. So 171 centimeters, and Ryan Garcia is 178 centimeters. What's 1 centimeter to? We're going to do some math real quick. Centimeters to inches. Damn it. I fat fingered my keyboard there. So 171 is a 27-inch reach. And, oh, wait. 171. 67-inch reach, excuse me, to 178. A 70. So he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. I think Garcia is going to be able to take that one. But you guys do let me know what you think. Did you guys want me to get... I have notes on the Kingpyn tournament brackets. Because I will be... That's the other thing. And I suppose... I'm going to put out also a community thing about this, like a community post about this. But I'm going to be going away to Italy next Tuesday. So I'm just going to take... I've been working pretty hard. And I'll probably end up working a little bit there too. But I just wanted to go see a friend, go visit a friend. So if you guys don't hear from me until... I'm going to be going away Tuesday. And I'll be staying for 8 days. So if you don't hear from me for a little bit, it's not because I've quit YouTube. It's just I'm taking a little time to refresh, recharge my batteries, and get back into it. But the channel's been growing very nicely. I'm very happy with the way the channel has been going recently. Just hit 142 subs. Do we want to get into the Kingpyn tournament? Predictions? We can go matchup for matchup here. Rokat notes. I do have notes. You want to know why, Balloons? Is I was supposed to do a video on this, but I realized I wasn't going to get it out in time. So I figured squeeze everything into one stream before I go on vacation. And the people that show up for it, show up for it. That make any sense? And then maybe clip it up before the end of the week. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, if you guys would like me to go into it, I will go into it gladly. Because I have every single men's matchup, every single women's matchup. All right. Here we go. So why don't we start with Jarvis versus Tom Zanetti? And feel free, guys, to let me know down in the chat what you think of my predictions and who you think is going to get it. I spent a lot of time watching tape on these guys. That like Mr. Krabs in the lab meme that's an accurate representation of how I review fights. Just like with a monocle, just like, you know what I mean? So here we go. Jarvis. I got the notes here. So I noticed, I'll start with this off the bat. I noticed Jarvis very compact, right? keeps everything very tight. He's got good timing, excuse me. He's very quick. And he starts off very fast, right? I noticed that in his one fight, and maybe we can, you know what? I'll see if I can actually show a little bit here, because we've been doing well with the YouTube stuff up until this point. Maybe we can sneak in some B-roll to kind of bolster what I'm saying here. Got to find the fight. So I looked up the fight he had versus Michael Lee, or Lay, and he's a very quick starter. He keeps everything tight. Of course, he trains with Mayweather. And there was that not really embarrassing viral video that came out, but it was a video of Mayweather kind of flouncing him in a way. Nobody's going to really look good against Mayweather. That's kind of an unrealistic reality for someone to want to have that. But he did look decent, right? Like, he had his moments. I remember watching a Wade video. Wade did a very good job with that. So he had his moments there. Point is, he's a technical, a talented boxer. He has power. And going up against like a guy like Tom Zanetti, I think he really has the advantage. I'll get into that in a second, what I mean by that. But it seems like he's kind of a buzzsaw. And I don't know if you guys would know a fighter by the name of John Lineker. They call him Hands of Stone. He's in the UFC. Jarvis fights a lot like that. And I'll show you what I mean, because I want the visual backup here of having some B-roll. So here we go. You know, it's Jarvis, kind of and again, no disrespect to him, but you know, much more of a kind of a compact type of guy. Here we go. Right, so he's kind of just keeping everything in tight. He clinches up when he's in trouble. Very quick. And to his opponent's credit, I mean, it's also true, you know, his opponent started off fast, so maybe Jarvis will be one of those guys that kind of matches his opponent's tempo early. But you see, look, he's stinging. He's keeping everything kind of tight. Good head movement, good check hooks, right? And he was able to match his opponent. That's the biggest thing. Let me go back real quick here. The biggest thing that gives me pause for how Tom Zanetti is going to do in this matchup is the fact that Jarvis, his opponent started off very fast, and where a lot of guys would have kind of become a little bit more... a lot of guys would have unraveled. I feel like Jarvis was kind of like, all right, yeah, this is the challenge. I want to take this on. Give me your best shots. I'm going to return, and I'm going to hit you with some accurate, tight, in-close bombs, right? And you see the effect that it had on his opponent. It was snapping his head back. And his opponent, even in the 30 seconds we just watched, immediately slowed down. Immediately. Ready? I'll show you again. Think about, as you watch, the pace that the opponent was fighting at merely 30 seconds ago, right? A lot slower. Now, there are some technical issues. Jarvis, he'll kind of like sway his head in. That could leave him open to get hit, but you see there. And then he starts to get control. Ref steps in, gives his opponent a standing 8 count. But that's the thing. That's the thing that's like, kind of like gives me pause the most for Tom Zanetti, because Tom Zanetti's a guy that likes to kind of fight at a frantic pace. We saw him trade a lot with Slim in their fight, is whether or not he's going to be able to physically bully Jarvis. Because if not, I could see Jarvis coming in like a buzzsaw and just taking his head off. Taking his best shots, boom, 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 keeping his hands up, and then coming forward, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? That's what I noticed. He's got fantastic defense. He's training with Mayweather, so that defense only going to get better. Right? You have to think. He's got a nice cross over the top. That's what he used in that last video to kind of like sting his opponent as he was coming in. Zanetti, once he gets into brawls, kind of leaves his hands down, head up, right? Chin exposed. He's not opposed to standing there in the pocket and trading. Yeah, I don't think it's a favorable matchup for Zanetti, if I'm being 100% honest, right? You know, when he sees he has I'm reading off the notes as well here. When he feels like he has a counter opportunity, he'll strike, but he tends to get wild. So that's one thing that Tom Zanetti does really horribly. And I will give him credit. I watched the Kingpyn has released the road to the ring here. It's like kind of like a build-up or like a UFC embedded for the event itself, and it looks like he's working on reining in his technicality a little bit. But from the fight I saw with Slim, he was just there to be hit. Like his chin was on a golden platter, right? And I worry that if he does that with Jarvis, he's going to get stung. And I could easily see Jarvis getting him out of there. You know, that's not to say that Tom Zanetti doesn't have a chin, because he had a very competitive fight with Slim, who definitely has some power on him. But I don't know. I don't know if that psychological game of Zanetti, where he's used to kind of like getting in guys' face and bulldozing them, I don't know if that's necessarily going to work on Jarvis. I don't think that is. Right? So if you guys want my official prediction for the first one, I'll probably have to go Jarvis. So let's check out, just to do Tom Zanetti, the same service we did. I said just to do, excuse me, Tom Zanetti, the same service we did Jarvis. Let's look a little bit at his last fight. The last time we looked at a Misfits boxing fight on here, we got demonetized. We got taken down. Not demonetized, because I'm not making any money off this, but we did get our video copyright claimed. Yogi, come here, baby. Come here. Come here, buddy. My dog is so many vehicles passing by the house right now. My dog is going insane. You can hear him in the background. But I want to show you guys what I mean. I want a physical demonstration. Now, it is also important to mention that I think Zanetti looks like a lot more physical. I know he's pretty... I have to see the Tom Zanetti height. He's 5'11", and Jarvis is what? 5'8". So not the biggest height discrepancy in the world, but I think it's something worth noting, right? We're going to take a look here in a second. And the fight is a close one, very 50-50. Well, especially with that, if they're going to sit there and trade, especially with that height advantage, a slight height advantage that Tom Zanetti has, very possible. And you'll see what I mean here, right? Slim and him are kind of just moving. And you see there, like Tom Zanetti just keeps his hands out, right? Chin jutted out. He likes to talk a lot of shit when he's in there. He does a good job for the most part of keeping his hands up. But like right there, when he feels like he has an opening in the pocket, you see how like horrid that form is. Again, not to talk shit, but there's a pretty good demonstration right there of the dangers that I think that Jarvis presents. Right? Because if Jarvis stays technical, goes under one of those shots, comes up with a big uppercut, comes up with one of those big crosses, I don't know. I think this fight is hinging on, because I want to see the power. I think Jarvis stopped his last, the opponent that we saw the video of. Let me see. I'm going to just check this out independent of... Yeah, he did stop his last opponent. So I want to see if that power translates over into a larger guy in Tom Zanetti. But right now, I'll lock my pick in. I got FaZe Jarvis. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. That is my honest prediction for the first matchup. And ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen and ladies, just gentlemen, just ladies, whoever we got in the chat here, we've got 7 more matchups. Matchup number 2, and probably the biggest fight, not even arguably the biggest fight on this card is Gibb versus McBroom 2. Now, I've already done a video breaking down the first fight in regards to what we can expect in the second fight. And I think taking a look at that first fight is really important, because I think we'll see the second fight kind of play out similarly. I know that McBroom has said that he was his health was compromised coming into that one. And I don't doubt that with more footage on both of, on each other, both of these guys will probably come in and try to bring in some new aspect to their game. But what I think coming into this will be the biggest... Gibb 90%. I was going to say Gibb 90% because what I think will be the biggest aspect of Gibb's kind of repertoire that we'll see. I don't even want to say repertoire because it's not a part of his repertoire. The biggest reason I could see Gibb taking the rematch I'm running, my brain is like running on fumes right now. I apologize. Is his ability, I don't know if you guys have watched the lineage of his career up until this point, but of course, since I did homework on this, I went through his past fights. And the base of Gib that we know has always been there, right? Great counters, great timing. He's powerful, good head movement, good pressure. He loves a fight. He's kind of Tom Zanetti, but way more technical. He doesn't get too ahead of himself. Right? And you saw that full display in the first McBroom fight. But another part of his game that's really unsung is his ability to get better between every single fight. It's a huge part of his game. Huge. Yes. The best gas tank in influencer boxing. That's another big one. But he's reined that in. You see, I don't think I've seen another influencer improve in between fights the way Gib has. He's a workhorse. That same reason he has that gas tank that he does is the same. He just must work like, and I've heard other YouTubers talk about the way that he works in the gym. He seems like he's a workhorse in there. And so with how, I guess, competitive the first part of the first 30 seconds, or the first round of the first fight was, I don't think we will see necessarily a domination by Gib by any means. He's the only person I know hit the body a lot. Well, he's smart too. He's a smart fighter. He's got great IQ. What was I saying? Oh, I don't think we're going to see an uncompetitive fight or an. I think this fight's going to be competitive. Is basically what I'm trying to say. I think though, we will see a Gib that has yet again stepped up his game in a big way, right? And if McBroom was, I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, yeah, it's kind of like a thing in the fight sports community where you say, oh yeah, my training camp, this, that, the third happened. I came into the fight, I had a dislocated pinky. We had to put it back in the locker room. Like everyone gives excuses once they lose. That's a well-known thing. If Austin McBroom is 100% serious about being compromised and being sick coming into that first one, and he fought at the pace that he did, that's what I'm saying. He dropped Gib. If he did that while compromised, and Gib comes in even better, and McBroom comes in even better, we could see a very competitive fight. But I do have to give it to Gib. Just because, you know, McBroom, if I'm being honest, dude, McBroom lost himself that fight. McBroom he just got overzealous. He dropped Gib once, and he was just going in for the kill, and he kind of blew off his gas tank going after him. McBroom did, going after Gib. But I just think that Gib, we're going to see a whole new version of him, man. I think he's going to really take a leap. I think he's going to be hungry to show people that that first fight wasn't just a fluke, right? That he can even beat McBroom at his best, you know? And so I do think we will see another Gib finish. But don't get it twisted. I do believe this is going to be a very competitive fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Especially, because, dude, McBroom's a talented boxer, man. I know it's kind of fun for people to make fun of him, you know, to shit on him for losing. But the guy, if you look at what he did, to who was that? It was the, what fight was it? The Bryce Hall fight, right? Like, Bryce Hall is obviously not on the level of a Gib. And you look at what he did to Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall got swallowed up. It's because of Gib's gas tank, and I believe this would be the case. It's because of Gib's gas tank that he was able to catch back up to McBroom, survive. The conditioning played a large part in that. So McBroom's no slouch. But I think Gibbs just got that extra. I mean, it's like one thing to be a fight sports athlete, and it's another thing to be a fighter. I think Gibbs got that fighter in him. But I want to see how McBroom kind of comes out this second fight. Because to Balloon's point, he did drop Gib the first fight. I think it was the first round. Can he get the job done now? Or could he have gotten the job if he was more economical the first time around? There's a very good chance that, yes, he could have. But Gib, another important thing to mention, kept his defense tight enough to the point where, right, McBroom was not able to get him out there because McBroom was winging shots at him, throwing with real intent to injure, to harm. And Gibb also, at his worst, was able to withstand McBroom's best. Just saying. So I got to go Gibb in matchup number 2. Let us move on, though. And you guys, again, feel free to let me know what you think down in the chat. I'm doing this because I'm going to be going away soon, so I wanted to give you guys a big, beefy stream. Clip this up over the course of the week before I go away, so, you know, just I don't like to leave you guys without too much. I mean, I know I'm not like a huge YouTuber or anything that has to worry about keeping his fans happy, but for the 4 people that do, you know, kind of tune in, every single stream, and like the 5 people that are kind of like leaving comments on my, I don't want to just leave them and not say anything. So I figured I'd give you guys an extra beefy stream today. All right. Let us move on. Matchup 3, we got My Mate Nate versus King Kenny. That's going to be a very interesting one. My Mate Nate, 3-0. Not particularly a volume guy, but has insane power. I mean, the last dude he fought, he broke his last opponent's nose with headgear and 16-ounce gloves on. Isn't that pretty crazy? That's ridiculous. Right? 16-ounce, I believe, is the largest amount of padding you can have in a glove. And My Mate Nate just threw headgear, threw everything, shattered his opponent's nose. You know, he's kind of, I mean, this is a kind of a mirror matchup, right? Both these guys are very similar. I think the advantage I'd give to My Mate Nate is that he seems to be a little bit more comfortable with being aggressive, right? We know that King Kenny, once he enters into the pocket with his length, kind of gets a little bit more uncomfortable with letting his hands go. And I got a lot of flack on TikTok because I clipped up my my most skillful boxers. One of you guys in the comments left me a question and I clipped it up. And I put it out, and a lot of people were like, yeah, King Kenny sucks. He's not. I believe that King Kenny is the most technical boxer in YouTube boxing. He just, for whatever reason, is adverse to letting his hands go. He doesn't like to let his hands go. Not at all. Right? And it's weird because he does have power. Right? He stopped, I think it was DK Money. Yes, it was DK Money. Right? But he just, for whatever reason, once he gets in that pocket, it doesn't, I think he's just so much more comfortable at range, and he never had to fight on the inside because he's so good at keeping range that when guys can successfully get in there, like Ashley Raksu had that upset recently, Kenny kind of is like a baby deer. Like he's just all over the place, right? He doesn't know what to do. And I think that's what My Mate Nate does really well. And that's how he's able to get his last opponent out of there, is he fights on the outside very well. He's extremely physical, but he finds those counter opportunities. There it is. Finds those counter opportunities, and once he has his opponent hurt, or once he feels like he has a read for his opponent's timing, that's when he kind of moves in. He gets a lot more aggressive. I'll show you what I mean. Mate Nate. Because again, this is better if you guys can see what I'm talking about. He's been fighting also in, I believe, in this Thai promotion called Idol Fight. Is it Thai? I don't know. But I'll show you guys what I mean. 3 ads, dude. 3 ads back to back to back. That's insane. All right, here we go. Here we go. So also, My Mate Nate, just a tall dude. Look at that. A big specimen of a guy. Right? His last opponent, he's like a King Kenny, right? He can back up. He's in and out of the pocket. He uses his jab really, really well. But he's also advancing a little bit more, right? You can kind of see, and I'll let it play a little bit more. You can kind of see that once he has a sense that he has his opponent hurt, that's when he goes in for the kill. So he fights smart. He's not going to leave himself in there to be hit. And in that sense, he's very similar to King Kenny. But at the same time, let me try to like fast forward here. At the same time, when he feels like he can have the fight in his hands, also just a funny guy, always constantly smiling. And he also has I think he has a better arsenal too, honestly, than Kenny. He's a deeper bag. It's a nice check hook right there. Right? Nice uppercut shifting. He deals with pressure a lot better than King Kenny does. Go back. But there's the opponent's nose. Just smashed. Yeah, it's a doctor's stoppage too. And I think that's a shot that breaks his nose. But yes, point is, when he feels like he can move in, he's not adverse to sticking in the pocket. That make any sense? Whereas King Kenny is kind of a little bit more shy, likes to stick on the outside. He's not really going to put his nose into the, towards the grindstone to really get his hands dirty. And I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest difference between King Kenny and My Mate Nate is My Mate Nate is a lot more comfortable with that physicality. And so you talk about like an Ashley Raxu with way more length, way more physicality. You have My Mate Nate, guy that can crack guys. I think it's dangerous. I think this is a dangerous matchup for King Kenny. I really do. Because the second we saw it with the Ashley Raxu fight, the second someone steps in there and actually gives him a little bit of resistance or kind of like starts to box with him on the inside, Kenny's, So this might be, even though I do think still that King Kenny, the most technical boxer in all of YouTube boxing, I do have to go My Mate Nate in this one. Maybe that's not a favorable pick, but sue me, right? I got My Mate Nate, maybe even via finish. That'll be my hot pick. That'll be my hot take for the entirety of this episode. And then Whindersson Nunes, did they announce his secret opponent? Let's look this up. Because if not, I do have some notes I had on Whindersson. Austin wins his decision this time, I think. He will have something to prove and will come prepared. It could very well be, Boxfield. Thank you for, by the way, subscribing. Not subscribing, but coming in and chatting with us. I appreciate you you sitting in and watching the video, man. I said it could very well be a very competitive decision. We don't really know. Well, we kind of do have an idea for what both of these guys will look like because they're always going to have their base type of styles with which they operate at. He also doesn't have to worry about an undefeated record anymore, which is a weight lifted. Who, My Mate Nate? Or, who? I don't think they have the mystery opponent yet. They don't? Okay. Wait a second. My Mate Nate record. Because last I checked, I could be wrong. Isn't My Mate Nate undefeated? He's a 3-0 from the Thai promotion. I doubt they will get it in time. That's unfortunate. But I'll tell you guys what I think of Whindersson Nunes, I guess, at the end of this. But yeah. I just My Mate Nate, they call him the dark horse pick. Oh, McBroom? Yeah, that's another thing. That's true. Psychologically, there's a lot off of him, too. Coming off of a loss. Yeah, I was going to say My Mate Nate because I checked last. I was like, did I do my homework incorrectly here? But yeah, all right. The math checks out there. That's true. Psychologically on McBroom, there is a lot less pressure. There is a lot less pressure. And I wouldn't even be mad if he won. I don't hate either dude. I do like Gibb. I think he's a very charismatic and skillful boxer within the scene. And I think he makes the scene 30 times more better whenever he's a part of it. Whether he goes to Misfits or he starts his own thing like he is now, wherever he goes, man, it's always going to be an entertaining lead up and an entertaining fight. And I think guys like that are super duper important. The guys like that are kind of like the glue that keeps everything together. That make any sense? For now, I guess let's get to Whindersson. Do you guys want to get to Whindersson Nunes now or after we do the women's brackets? What are we thinking? Because for the women, I'm not going to lie. I wanted to give them the fair shake that I gave the men. Wasn't able to find a lot on the women because a lot of them are making their debuts. My Mate Nate, 75%. Good to know that I'm not the only one that has that hot pick. That hot take. The dark horse hot take. But yeah, let me know if you want me to move on to the women or we could get to Whindersson Nunes. Whindersson Nunes. Is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to go through Whindersson Nunes. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, dude. I saw his boxing footage. It wasn't really anything too spectacular. I hate to be come off as a hater, but it wasn't. I looked at it and he doesn't really give off. Let me excuse me, by the way. He doesn't really give a lot of volume off, right? He has good head movement. He enters in and out of the pocket very well. But besides that, women, let's get it. All right, yeah. I'm just going to real quick just blast through Whindersson Nunes. He's a little bit hesitant to let his hands go. It just doesn't seem like he has a lot to offer at this point. Though he is training very hard for this fight, so we could see a completely different Whindersson Nunes. But if you guys want to go, just take a look at his fight. Who's fighting? What's up, J City? We're going through the misfits, so I'll put this up on screen. Actually, you know what? That's going to be a big help. Kingpyn, or not? I said Kingpyn. I said misfits. Stupid me. Quarterfinal matchups. We're talking about the quarterfinal matchups for the Kingpyn high stakes tournament. I'll put here. I got the fight card here. Should give you guys a visual reference, and especially since we're going into the women. So J City, this is all of the people who are fighting that night. Apparently, wait, what? Philippe Marcinek? I thought they didn't have a... That's very interesting. So apparently it's listed here as his mystery opponent at 175. Interesting stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if we could trust that necessarily. But this is all of the people who are fighting. We've gone through Jarvis versus Tom Zanetti. We've gone through Gibb versus McBroom. We've gone through my mate Nate versus King Kenny. And now we are moving on to the women's brackets. Again, I wanted to give the women the best possible shake I could. I still have a decent amount of notes on them. But a lot of them making their debuts. They got someone since what? Let me see. You know what? Hold on. Whindersson versus Popo. This is his last fight. That was the fight I watched where it was just dude is a rapper apparently. Balloons, you are fast with the Google search, my guy. Mystery opponent. Is there actually a confirmed mystery opponent? We will go over the women's bracket in a second. I guess it's potential. Kingpyn has officially... It was never a mystery opponent. They just hadn't filled. Ha! That's mad funny. They try to play it off. So Phil... Well, let's take a look, see at this Philippek. Is Philippek even 0-0? Malinks Poland. So he is a rapper. Pro MMA record. He's 2-2. Who you got between Gibb versus McBroom? I've got Gibb in that one, but I could see it being a very hotly contested matchup. If you want, you can go, if you were like, you scrub back maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, I give a more detailed breakdown in depth because we're just running through the card at this point. But yeah, as I said, I think Gibb could take that. I think easily Austin could usurp. I mean, that last fight, pretty competitive, and then Gibb kind of took control because I believe Austin got a little bit too antsy at the end. But yeah, it's going to be a very competitive one. Very, very good fight to watch. So why don't we go through the women, and then at the end, let's do a little bit of a live, because I didn't know that they announced his mystery opponent, so I don't have any notes on his mystery opponent. We could do a little live analysis / breakdown. Matchup 4, we've got Emily Brooke, that's the sister of Ellie Brooke, versus Amber O'Donnell. I think both are making their debut, but Amber is sparred with both sisters. I didn't really have a lot to go off of with Emily Brooke. She seems to have the same, and this is going to sound really dickish at first, and I promise it's not a dig at their bodies or like it. If Austin works on his cardio, it could be a much closer matchup. I do think so as well. I just think also Austin needs to like stay a little bit more composed when he thinks he has someone hurt. That's really what I believe lost him that first fight. Is he did have Gibb hurt. Gibb was able to kind of stay in there and hang in there, and it really cost McBroom that he went so all in trying to get Gib out of there. But for Emily, I really didn't have a lot to look at. No training footage, as was the case with most of these women. But it does seem like psychologically, this is a big thing I did notice. Psychologically, when she faced off with Amber O'Donnell, it seemed like she's the much more dominant personality. And that's what I noticed from both sisters. They both have that kind of domineering presence about them. Now, obviously, Ellie Brooke, if you watch any of her footage, and we'll get to her later on, she's facing off against Alexander Daniel. Or probably it's more so Alexandra Danielle. But, Ellie just kind of bullies people in there. Constant pressure. Very happy to kind of get into a dog fight. And so I'll say this. If Emily fights anything like that, because she has been training with her sister, and she does have a Broom needs to box more than force it. Well, that's what I think. That is what I think. Yeah, if Emily fights anything like her sister, I could easily see her swallowing up O'Donnell. Especially at this level, too, where it doesn't matter so much about technicality, more so than it does kind of just about mentality, right? When you have two people that don't have a lot of training or experience, usually you could see a girl like Ellie Brooke coming in and just kind of going through, pile driving, steamrolling through. And they both, again, have very similar. That's what I was going to say is this is not like a body negativity thing here. But if you look at the way that both Ellie Brooke and Emily Brooke are built, they're built like linebackers. They're very, no one knows those girls. Listen, bro, hey, I had to do the entirety of my research. J-City, I couldn't just do the guys and leave out the girls. You know what I mean? I'm too much of a... as an analyst, I had to do them the service. I had to do them the service of doing my notes on them. But point is, listen, Emily, I have winning this. If she's going to fight anything like her sister, she will absolutely steamroll through Amber O'Donnell. Amber O'Donnell is pretty tall, but it just looks like from the face-off I saw, it looks like she's already kind of mentally not where she needs to be. Because Emily Brooke kind of like pushed her, and then Amber O'Donnell didn't really do anything, backed off. And again, without any physical kind of training footage or boxing footage I have to go off of, could be something to look into. So I've got Emily Brooke for that one. Daniela Hemsley. By the way, also, I don't know if it's just Jensen here. Feel you. Yeah. Research. That's what I was going to say. A lot of these women do have OnlyFans. So in doing research, I was like, oh, I didn't know that that was the case. I was going to make a joke in here that Ellie Brooke has great finishing instincts. You know what I mean? Wink, wink, nush, nush. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay professional, and we're going to continue and just view the boxing. Just research on the boxing, nothing else. I have a decent voice for an analyst. Thank you, sir. I also do commentary. I did a commentary event this last weekend, which was pretty crazy. I saw a head kick. Maybe I could show you guys a head kick. Do you guys want to watch it? I'll try to see if I can find the head kick with, maybe I can send it to myself via email. I had the chance to see this head kick, which was insane. Yeah, I got the clip here. I actually have the call I made from it too. It was such an insane head kick that I lost my voice calling it. I'll show you in a second here. I'm going to email it to myself, and then I'll put it up on screen for you guys. But I appreciate the love, J-City. Just got to send it over. Yeah, but we'll continue with the women in a second. Because at the end of the day, say what you want, but the women are fighting on this card, and I do believe they deserve a fair shake as just as much as the guys do, no matter if they're OnlyFans creators, no matter what their background is, right? Let me just... Okay. Don't want you guys seeing my email. I'll show you this real quick because send over the OnlyFans. I will not be doing that, sir. You do that on your own timing. You do your own independent research, of course, on their fighting footage, and you come to your own independent conclusion about who you think would win that fight. I'm so stupid. I'm dumb. All right. Here we go.
So here's Cash.
So this is through someone else's story. I got because they don't let us see the they clip it up. Are you going to do a UFC 287 breakdown? If you'd like me to, I could also do a a live companion. But I just thought that nobody wanted to hear me talk about MMA. MMA is actually my first love in terms of combat sports. And I could break down MMA the most. But all right, I'm going to show you guys this head kick. I was calling this solo, dude. This is insane. I hope you guys can see this. Maybe I can hold on. Wait. Can you guys see that okay? I don't know if I can. Maybe I can try to. Yeah. All right. Ready?
So here's Cash just constantly pressuring, and Stoll shifts. Great head movement, keeping his hands up, and just off of that, takes a step to the outside. I'm losing my voice. Takes a step to the outside and blasts that head kick. That in that close too, you shouldn't be able to generate any power from.
Just slumped him.
Of an angle,
just slumped him. It was crazy.
Out and done.
Dude.
That is
it was fucking nuts. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like that. The entire arena went silent. It was nuts. Do Ryan versus Vontae? You mean Gervonta? Yeah, we already talked about that earlier in the stream. Well, you're talking about like a fight companion? I plan on doing that. I plan on doing a double because I think that same night, it's the 22nd, so they have the Misfits card. So I was just going to do a double, or I would just commentate over, or not commentate, but do a fight companion for. What's up? We had so many new people in the chat today. It's very nice. That was my voice? Yes, it was. My voice was failing by that point because I was about 11 to 12 fights in. And so it was very like, oh, like when the guy was coming in, boom, boom, boom. He gets hit with the head kick, drops, and like seizes around. I like screamed, but my voice wasn't like, it was just, ah! It sounded like that, dude. It was terrible. It was so bad. That guy's okay, though. That's the biggest thing. I've talked to both men. And yeah, I commentate for RFC Promotions. You can follow them on Instagram. I'm the interviewer. I'm the commentator for their events. I love what I do. And that's the first time I've been able to get paid to be on air, which is awesome. Which I'm hoping to bring this YouTube channel to that point at some point down the line, you know? But yeah, insane head kick. But let's get back on track. Okay? Because I do have a hard out here at 5. So I got to get through all of these matchups. Because I promised you guys I would. Matchup 5, we've got Daniela Hemsley, and I got to put this back up on the screen. Where is this? Yeah, there we go. Boop. All right, we've got Daniela Hemsley versus Julie Oliveira. Now, Daniela Hemsley, another OnlyFans model. A very limiting training footage. Again, that's kind of the case with all these ladies. She looks green. She doesn't really look that. She doesn't look like she's been training for a while. She says she's in the gym a lot. A lot of these ladies are already in really good shape because they're kind of like fitness influencers. So that's one thing I could say about all of them universally across the board is they're all going to be, their cardio shouldn't be bad. They should be used to kind of acclimating their bodies to weight training or to some sort of martial arts training, right? She seems confident. She's tall, dude. A lot of these, like, you know what I mean? A lot of these ladies are pretty tall. And Julia Oliveira, or I think her name is Poca Oliveira, is her like influencer name. She's just like she's muscular, dude. She's a muscle mommy. Hold on, I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, they got me with this too. They got me with that April. I saw that April 1st shit, and I was like, fuck. All right, Julie Oliveira. I'm going to show you how muscular. And again, no hate. This is not like to trash her or anything, but like, dude, look at the quads, dude. Insane, right? I don't want to show too much here and get like kicked off, but if anything, like she's got muscle, right? And with muscle comes power. That's what I'm trying to say. This is not to be like, oh, look at that woman's butt, but like, dude, legitimately, I guarantee she can generate a lot of power. I think that's going to give her a huge advantage coming into this. Right? Now, Daniela is sizably longer and taller than her, but I could see her physicality potentially making up the difference. Again, I don't know. It's hard to tell when there's no footage to watch, but I guess I'll just do my best to kind of present you guys with the best information I can. So I probably would have to go Polka with this one because of the amount of muscle she has on her. I feel like she could pack a mean punch, like uncork a hook, right? Just send Daniela Hemsley into the next dimension. I could see that easily. All right, hold on. We're reaching the end of our little breakdown. Fuck, I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. We are reaching the end. We've got Ellie Brooke versus Alexandra Danielle. Alexandra Danielle, I don't think she speaks any English. She kind of has a guy, like a translator that walks around with her, but he kind of says everything for her. Like it's not like she'll say something and he translate it. It's just like she'll remain silent and he says something for her. Her mentality seems a little bit shaky. I've watched a lot of interviews with her, and it doesn't seem like the confidence is there. Whereas Ellie Brooks has had experience, with the way she fights. I'll show you an Ellie Brooks fight, man. And they're all in the same. It's all the same idea with those. Here we go. Yeah, she fought Faith Ordway, who's a TikTok star. Slap that into theater mode. Here we go. Oh, good. We're already there. It was a pretty quick finish, I think, too. Sorry about the sound being off, guys. I'm just trying to preserve. I'm not trying to get us copyright struck. These ads are crazy. Yeah, it comes out. And that's the other thing I noticed is that Alexandra is significantly taller than Ellie, but that's never stopped her before. It seems like most of her opponents have been longer and taller than she has been. But you'll see the way Ellie kind of charges forward. She's no joke. Right there, like just trading, right? Finding openings whenever she can. This is what I talk about, man. Where it's like that bullying presence. Even someone in Faith Ordway, now I'm not sure how physically tall Faith Ordway is, but the fact is that Faith is leagues ahead, above, I should say, Brooke in terms of her height. But Brooke is the one that's walking her down, which is insane. Usually, someone with the height and the reach advantage is able to walk the smaller opponent down. Not the case here. Gets one knockdown and is stalking her for the rest of the fight. I'm going to keep this brief again. I don't want to get copyright struck. Has her opponent hurt. Physically bleeding, you know what I mean? Just manhandling her, piloting her where she wants her to go. Good footwork, constantly throwing bombs, and just gets her opponent out of there, right? I can't see her doing anything differently on I think this is actually the 22nd, right? It's going to be the 22nd. Oh, we're going to have to do a dual watch. Yeah, that's going to be the 22nd of April. So we're going to have to do a dual watch along for that and the tank fight. That's what we'll do. We'll do a fight companion for both of those. I can't see her doing anything differently the 22nd, especially because Alexandra, the Polish Instagram model, even though she said she has been training with a lot of great Polish MMA fighters, there's apparently a pretty good gym down there. And even though she has that height and reach advantage, I think Ellie Brooks is going to dominate. I'm going to go with the most normie take, you could have in this situation. And that's, I've got Ellie Brooks by early decision. All right, matchup 7. We've got the last women's matchup here, and then Whindersson Nunes will give pretty detailed breakdown of that, and then I'll get on out of here, and I will see you guys after my vacay. We've got Barbie versus Whitney Johns. Dude, Barbie, I don't know if you guys have seen Barbie. She's never been in a fight before. She said, I've gotten into a lot of street fights. She's never been in a ring. And she's also the taller out of her two opponents, or the two, her and her opponent. She's the taller. She's 5'11". I looked up her height. She's 5'11". Her dad's an ex-pro MMA fighter. She had originally something scheduled in Misfits with Fangs, who's another woman content creator, and I guess that fell through due to legal issues. Not quite sure what happened with that. But yeah, she's going up against Whitney Johns, another fitness influencer. She's not totally at a physical disadvantage. It's kind of the same thing with Polka and it was, which one was it? What we talked about with, where was it? Daniela Hemsley and Julia Oliveira. It's kind of that situation. It's length versus physicality, right? And Whitney Johns has the physicality. And I actually watched some of, let me see if I can find her not sparring, but hitting pads, because that's the most I could find. But she looks good. Everything looks tight. Not Whitney and J-Lo Grammy, Whitney Johns. Boxing. Whitney Johns in fantastic shape. Like, even past the point of just being in like good shape for an Instagram model, she's in very, very good shape. Like fight shape. I'll show you what I mean. Like, just take a look at her throwing. Keeps her hands up. It's not bad. She's a little bit set in her stance. But it's not a bad jab, right? She keeps everything tight. Seems like a lot of explosive power. I might have to go Whitney Johns for this one. I might have to go Whitney Johns, though. Again, I said at this level, that mentality, if Barbie has been in a lot of street fights, and I'll show you a picture of Barbie to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. Because you might be like, whoa, after you see Barbie. Barbie might have that mentality where it's like, you never know. This is Barbie. You guys are going to know who I'm talking about once you see her. Right here. Right there. There's Barbie. So again, never been in a street fight. All right, hold on. Wait, there's pads. There's pad footage. Not bad. I mean, I guess like for 5'11". Yeah, not bad. So, dude, yeah, I'm not sure. 5'11". She moves like she's 5'11". Like, she moves like she has a lot of muscle and is a little bit more belabored in her movements. That's how she has like that. Apparently, that's like a tattoo. She can't just get that removed. And anyone that's willing to get that tattoo on their face, I think, is just a different level of. They're willing to like kind of go somewhere in a fight that. It sounds stupid that I'm doing this as like this is the commentary or the analysis that I'm doing for this, but it's what we have to go off of. But Whitney Johns does look a little bit more technical. So I'll probably lean Whitney Johns for that last one. And then as we end off this stream, let's look at who was it that Whindersson Nunes was going to go up against? Philip Marcinek, who's a rapper. Okay. Pull up some of his MMA highlights. So he's 2-2 in professional MMA. And this is I think this is the same promotion that maybe JMX fought in. It's like a promotion for influencers to fight in MMA, which I think is an awesome idea. I think we need more of that. Obviously, the dude that doesn't look like a neo-Nazi is Philip. So that's him right there. It's another weird thing that some MMA fighters do is they'll get like henna tattoos of the sponsors on their body. It's just such a weird thing. Doesn't look too terrible. Kind of like lunging into shots, though. But against Whindersson Nunes, that doesn't really have a response, right? Like, he's not willing to let his hands go in a big way, at least in his last fight. I don't see that being much of an issue. Kind of a little bit clunky with the way he enters the pocket. Kind of backpedaling a little bit there. Nice timing. He's trying to counter. It's not bad. Doesn't really have a diverse arsenal. Kind of just throwing 1-2s or check hook or that overhand. Actually, let me saw some sound of this. All right, never mind. I thought it would be like sound of the match itself. Let's move forward a little bit here. His opponent's not really doing much either. This is not good. This is not good. Let me see. Let me see. Highlights. Let me see if I can just find some highlights of him, you know? Just something that we could glean from the way that he fights. Another one of his fights. Oh, wait. Just terrible form on that. But he's able to get his opponent out of there. Did he get... Wow. Wait. Jesus. That was quick. So round one... Oh, my God. When did he hit his opponent with? I'm trying to just get any type of... I mean, this is really like... You guys probably don't want to see this. It's kind of boring, but this is what I do when I review fighter footage. Just watch. Really leaves himself overexposed. Pretty bad form. Like, what is that? I don't want to be too negative, but not looking too hot between the two of those guys. But you know what? From what I've seen, I'll probably have to go Philip Eck. Just because Whindersson Nunes doesn't look much better. I'll show you guys a little bit of Whindersson Nunes footage in a second. All right. And then we'll get on out of here. So Whindersson Nunes in the red gloves, and his opponent is in the blue, obviously. Doesn't really let his hands go all that much. It's good head movement, good countering, but gets pressured really easily. Gets hit with the same shots a lot. Shame. Same shots. Not bad counters. This might be a 50-50, but either way, it's not going to look too pretty or too clean. His opponent has pretty decent hand speed, but I just think that Philip Eck's also not going to have that same hand speed to him. He's just there to be hit a lot. But yeah, I could see Whindersson Nunes taking this. Not as bad as I thought upon a first watch. With that, is there anything you guys wanted me to talk about? I got to be out of here in 15 just because I got to do something at 5. But is there anything else you guys wanted me to cover? This will be the last video for a little bit. I'm going on a little vacay. So is there anything else you guys wanted me to touch on before I get on out of here? How long have we been going for? Wow, almost 2 hours. Great stuff. Yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know. Otherwise, I will sign off for now. But anyone that's in here, if you guys want, I have a merch store. I don't really make any money off of the merch. I said it so that I make like 30 cents off of everything because I don't want to make money off of it, but I just like creating stuff. I'll show you what I do. Teespring. I'll show you guys what I do. If you guys would like to check it out, feel free. If you don't want to, that's fine. Again, I'm not doing it to make money. I'm just doing it because I enjoy the process of making products. Oh, wait, no, whoopsie. It's a wrong account. Oh, wait, no, I can go through I'm going to go through the link of my Instagram. You can see my Instagram up on the top of the screen. You can find the link through there. Pleasure watching the stream. Pleasure having you, Balloons, man. You're a vet of the channel, an OG. Well, if you guys want to be ground floor adopters, where is it? There it goes. Check this out real quick. Shot my 27. There it goes. So here it is. Got here, there's me with a gigantic beard. Got a bunch of different designs. Got the Extremes, totally legal streaming service shirts. We got the Influencer Boxing Olympic shirts. Just all little inside jokes we've had over the course of the channel. I plan to add more designs there. And then we also have my just regular merch page. Where's the... Maybe I don't have it in here. Oh, there it is, store. We also have this one here where I add constantly other designs from my other shows. I make all of these, so feel free to give it a look. Check it out. Again, I don't make any money off of any of these, but I just think it's cool to make stuff. So I will be back after my vacation. I appreciate you guys sticking around supporting. I'll try to clip this up a little bit before the end of the week. And yeah, without further ado, I'll see you guys. I'm sure there's going to be so much more I got to talk about when I get back, but give myself a little rest. All right? Give my voice a little rest, being that it's so blown out from that commentary event. All right?